Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wrestling Talk. And today we're going to be talking about something. The problem with WWE is not what you think it is. And let me explain that. You clicked on the title. This is going to be the problem with WWE is not what you expect it to be. And that problem is, listen, Cody Rhodes is a good wrestler. Don't get me wrong, but he's not, or should ever be, a face of a company. He could tell a compelling story if the story is already interesting. For example, like Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns was interesting because of the bloodline. It wasn't interesting because Cody Rhodes' story itself. It was always because, will the bloodline explode? Will the bloodline do this? It was never really about Cody finishing his story. It was mostly about the bloodline. If the bloodline wasn't involved with that, it would have been interesting. So now, without the bloodline, without Roman Reigns, and without a major villain for Cody to face, essentially, what's happening here is that Cody Rhodes is becoming less interesting, and that is when your main champion, your face of the company, ain't interesting anyone with their matches or, all the time. Cody Rhodes is a good wrestler, don't get me wrong. But the one thing that he's not good at is, like, if, let's say, I put him up against Omos. If you put Omos up against, like, Seth Rollins could make Omos look like $10 million. If you put him up against Cody Rhodes, he would make Omos look like $0. That's the problem. Cody Rhodes is only as good as his opponent is most of the time. Except Drew McIntyre, which Drew McIntyre is good. He should have been the face of the company. Or, better yet, if the problem with WWE is that you have Cody Rhodes sitting most of the day doing nothing because championships are only defended on pay-per-views now, not on Raw, not on SmackDown, world titles at least. So you're devaluing the titles by making them defend only 12 times a month or less because there's only 5 matches in the show. The problem is that Cody Rhodes is not interesting as a champion. He's interesting if he has the right opponent and the right feud heading up to a title match. Like the SummerSlam one, like SummerSlam this year, his problem wasn't the fact that he can't wrestle or this or that. It is a simple problem, and it's simple. He just can't do like what Roman Reigns could. Roman Reigns, the reason why this looks different from like 2022, 2023, 2024 is because Triple H, the main thing was they still had Roman Reigns as champion. That's what stayed consistent. Roman Reigns as champion. And with that consistency, and Roman Reigns' longest title run, of course, you got good quality, good rivalries. Will the bloodline break up? You're so used to that great storytelling from the past years that this year looks worse in comparison, where things actually are still good, but just not storyline-wise. Because when you put all your effort into the bloodline storyline, and then, what came to be of it, like Sami Zayn betraying Roman Reigns and this and that, it ended up being, I think, completely useless now. Because if Roman Reigns was still champion, I don't think we'll be debating if 2025 was a good year. It would have been the best year for wrestling as a whole. I think the problem is people wanted Cody to beat Roman Reigns. Now that Cody got what he wanted, he's not interesting. He's not interesting. You need a good face that people could be interested in, no matter who they lose or win. Now that he's had the championship once, lost it to John Cena, people weren't interested in Cody Rhodes after he won the title because his goal was to win the title. That's what he wanted to do. Roman Reigns wanted to keep the title. That made him a much better face of the company than Cody Rhodes, because, as I said, Cody Rhodes is a good wrestler and all, but the problem is there's not many interesting storylines for Cody Rhodes. With Roman Reigns, you could have his whole family involved. Like, I would say if you could somehow get Dustin Rhodes back and do something with Cody Rhodes, maybe he could be interesting again. Because when family gets involved, like The Rock was involved, all of these people get involved with Roman Reigns, and that's what made his era more interesting as a whole, because Roman Reigns' title reign lasted a long time. People wanted to see it end, but people kept coming back to see the bloodline drama, and, will Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, will someone defeat the Usos for the tag team titles? Will Solo ever improve in the ring? Will Solo ever win? Will there be a new member of the bloodline? See, that's what people came to see. And then in mid-2024, 2024 was a big hit or miss year. Half of it was good, half of it was bad. And that was because at WrestleMania 40, when Cody Rhodes won, there was no direction for him to go. At all. It was like, we made Cody finish the story. Maybe we shouldn't have done it, It's like one of those situations. It might have been better to have Roman Reigns retain the title against someone else and not have Cody Rhodes have faced Roman Reigns, because then he could have faced Seth Rollins. It wouldn't be exactly finishing his story, but the World Heavyweight Championship sometimes is felt like an afterthought anyways, and Cody Rhodes is not afterthought. He could have made that title even more important right after Seth Rollins lost it, but you went the opposite route. It's because fans complained. The fans wanted this, and when the outcome comes back, it's not what fans expected. And the problem is, Roman was just and the bloodline as a whole was just a lot more interesting than Cody Rhodes. And him as champion as a whole. Granted, he has some good matches, but then he also had some absolute dog water ones, like with Solo Sikoa twice. Like, for every good championship defense Cody had, there was like one bad one. That's the problem. Cody Rhodes as champion and the face of the company should have never happened. John Cena beating him for the title, that should have never happened. Cody Rhodes winning it again after it failed the first time. Granted, I don't think any of this is Triple H's fault, but you have to look at the objectives here. If the fans had never complained about Dwayne Johnson and Roman Reigns possibly having a WrestleMania match at WrestleMania 40, 2025 could have been a lot better, I think. If we got The Rock versus Roman Reigns, I feel like, and Roman Reigns won the title, and it was still champion today, I feel like we would be in a much better time, and we wouldn't be suggesting, is WWE worse or better now? It would have been better, But then because Roman Reigns isn't on the show that much, then you had the opportunity for, like, Seth Rollins to main event a pay-per-view with the WWE, not the WWE, the World Heavyweight Championship. It gave the World Heavyweight Championship time to main event, and some great matches came out of that. Some great main event matches came out of that. So basically what I'm saying is, because Cody Rhodes is there every day, and you see him most of the time, and he's not... What made the WWE Championship important, and what made the World Heavyweight Championship important in the first place was Roman Reigns wasn't there all the time, and you needed like a second world title. Now with Cody Rhodes being here every day, showing up, doing, kissing babies, all that, it took away from the World Heavyweight title, and that became an afterthought. Roman Reigns unintentionally built up the World Heavyweight division. Roman Reigns himself. Damian Priest was a good champion, and that's because he wasn't booked as an afterthought. He was booked as, hey, he might have been a transitional champion, so Gunther could hold the title for a little bit. And then Gunther should be defending the title every week, because that's Gunther's style. Not making him... Essentially, the World Heavyweight title became what Roman Reigns would have under Gunther. And I understand people were upset about that. Gunther should have defended the title more. But when he defended it, the matches were good. You can't deny that. And I feel like the problem is there's no one in that main event scene. There's no main event title matches on Raw. So you need to have more title matches, world title matches on Raw, SmackDown, and also you don't have to do it every week. Just do it like maybe once every 2 weeks. Have a world title match on Raw. It doesn't have to be like maybe even every 2 weeks. Just make it worth watching. That's the problem. Vince understood that world title matches on Raw got butts in seats. Having a random match between Jey Uso and Sami Zayn and Omos at the main event of Raw ain't gonna get butts in seats. I am sorry, no one is paying to see just two random guys wrestle for no reason. Like, add a stipulation, add something to make it interesting. Like, Vince McMahon understood that. That's one thing Vince McMahon understood. World title matches got butts in seats for, like, Raw, SmackDown. Sometimes he overused it a little too much, and they would defend it every week on Raw or SmackDown. But listen, when Roman Reigns defended the title, sometimes it was on SmackDown, and it felt like a special occasion because he was appearing on the SmackDown and defending the title in wrestling. That's the difference. And then when Seth Rollins was champion, he defended it on Raw almost every week. That because almost every other week. Well, how did we get from Seth Rollins' great reign to whatever WWE is doing now? That's what I'm saying. Cody Rhodes being champion messed up WWE, and that's my opinion. Yeah, goodbye.